7.1 magnitude earthquake rocking Venezuela, and separate quakes reported in California and Japan. I want to show you some of the video. We are just now getting into it. These chaotic moments on the streets of Caracas, dust filling the air after the capital there in Venezuela felt that intense shaking. You see people walking around, some of them looking confused. A baseball game coming to a halt, people running for safety. You see the light fixture up there swaying, people running for safety to the center of the field. Just hours before that, we saw a 5.6 quake hitting Northern California, knocking shelves of food to the ground. We're also following a 6.9 quake in Japan with tsunami advisories in effect there. There's a lot going on, a lot to watch. We've got Bill Karen standing by. But I want to start with Aaron Gilchrist joining us now, because it seems that the most significant of these is the one that just happened late today in Venezuela. Aaron, what do we know about the possibility of any injuries, about how people are doing there?
Yeah, less than an hour ago this happened, Hallie, and at this point there aren't any reports about any serious injuries or any major damage having happened here. But obviously a 7.1 magnitude earthquake is a major earthquake, and this was one that happened a little after 6 o'clock Eastern time, apparently in the northwestern part of Venezuela, so putting it very much near the coast of Venezuela, the Caribbean coast of Venezuela. There are reports that there could have been some of the shaking felt in parts of Colombia, and as you've been saying, this video that we're seeing now out of the Caracas area, which is more than 100 miles away from where we believe the epicenter of this earthquake was, and still we see the shaking. You see people who felt that shaking running into the streets, getting reports about buildings with cracks potentially in some of these buildings. We've been hearing reports about bottles being knocked off of shelves in stores in this area, and obviously people very much concerned about their safety, running into the streets, trying to get to safe spaces, potentially to open spaces in case there were any buildings that might collapse. And again, at this point, an hour after this earthquake happened, we are not getting any reports about any buildings that have collapsed or seen any major damage, or any reports about people having been injured. Hallie, there are alerts that have been posted by the National Weather Service in this country about the potential for tsunamis in this area. An earthquake of this magnitude near the coast could potentially send waves to neighboring islands, into the Caribbean Netherlands, into Aruba. There are reports about advisories at least being posted for Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands to be on the lookout for potentially tsunami waves. Hallie.
Aaron Gilchrist, we'll look to see if we get more video coming into us, too. I know our teams are on top of that. Aaron, thanks.
Está temblando. Está temblando. Miren el desastre que hay. Acabado totalmente. Observen después el terremoto.
Shalom. All praise to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rachak Badasha. Double honor to our apostles, elders, and bishops here at Great Millstone for teaching this truth that's gone all around the earth. And shalom to the hopeful elect out there. This is your brother Atazawan. We're back at it again. We're going to do a real short lesson on the earthquakes that hit Venezuela. All right, we have those two news reports, in the beginning of this lesson. And I believe also there was an earthquake in Japan, I think, and a couple of other different places, man. So, we're here. We're seeing all the different signs of the end of this place, okay? Meaning the rulership of Esau, Edom. And the Lord said in the last days that we will see, an influx of all these different natural events, right? Brought on by Yahweh, by Shem Yahushai, either by, his righteousness, if you will, or the right-hand side, by it being natural, or even if it is on the left-hand side being man-made, okay? In any event, it is the Lord's will that these things happen. And when you have these natural disasters and such, there are lives lost, which go into the Lord's judgments, okay? Because this whole place has to be judged, right? The earth is going to be judged, or the world will be judged. We'll put it that way. So I'm not going to make this real long. We, like I said, we have the clips in the front. We're going to get a couple of scriptures and read this report, and that will be it. So this is Ecclesiasticus 5, and we'll jump right there, verse 4. It says, "Say not, I have sinned, and what harm hath happened unto me? For the Lord is long-suffering, he will in no wise let thee go. Concerning propitiation, be not without fear to add sin unto sin. And say not, his mercy is great. He will be pacified for the multitude of my sins. For mercy and wrath come from him, and his indignation resteth upon sinners." So this is a warning, right, in the book of Sirach or Ecclesiasticus, right, for you not to continue on in your sin, okay, because at any point in time, the Most High may bring judgment on you, by way of storm or tempest or in these cases, earthquakes, and such things, okay? So going on in verse 7, it says what? "Make no tarrying to turn to the Lord, and put not off from day to day, for suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth, and in thy security thou shalt be destroyed and perish in the day of vengeance." Right? So when people lose their lives and such things, you still have to remember it is Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, bringing his judgments, upon the earth, right? And upon those whom he judged. So this is why you have to fear Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. You got the tribe of Asher and probably Naphtali and some other tribes mixed in down there in Venezuela, okay? All right? So those are Israelites down there as well, okay? Let's read one more verse, verse 8. It says, "Set not thine heart upon goods unjustly gotten, for they shall not profit thee in the day of calamity," right? And so I believe it happened yesterday evening, Wednesday evening, down there in Venezuela, right? That a whole bunch of calamity was brought, right? And I believe, according to this report, we'll read it from the New York Times. It says, "Venezuela live update, search for survivors grows more urgent 24 hours after quakes," right? So they had more than one. And it says, "Back-to-back earthquakes left at least 188 dead and injured more than 1,500 people," the authorities said. Residents of the port city of La Guaria estimated that hundreds of people were trapped in rubble. The tolls were expected to rise. And it says here, the latest, we'll highlight it here real quick. It says, "Rescue crews and residents dug through rubble in an increasing desperate search for survivors on Thursday evening, more than 24 hours after the worst earthquakes to hit Venezuela in nearly 6 decades. At least 188 people were killed and hundreds more were trapped in the rubble or missing, according to the government. More than 1,500 people were injured in the back-to-back quakes on Wednesday, according to the president of Venezuela National Assembly, Jorge Rodriguez. The quakes struck the country's populous northern states, and the number of dead and injured are virtually certain to rise." You see, let me see if there's anything else. Here it says Venezuelan players, because they're big on baseball down there, right? And coaches across Major League Baseball wore team hats embroidered with VZ in honor of earthquake victims on Thursday. More than 6% of the players on this year's opening day rosters were born in Venezuela, a baseball-obsessed country that won the most recent World Baseball Classic, a moment of immense national pride. Yeah, they're real big down there on baseball. You would think more soccer, but they really love baseball down there in these South American countries, right? As well as in the Caribbean. Okay, so, and they also gave a warning for the Caribbean islands as well, looking out for tsunamis because this earthquake, the magnitude of it was so high, right? And it was more than one. So there you have it, okay? And so we know through the scriptures that these things were already prophesied to happen. All right, so let's go up here. Let's see here. Mark 13:3, we'll just jump in right here. It says, and as he sat upon the Mount of Olives over against the temple, Peter and James and John and Andrew asked him privily, tell us when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign when all these things shall be fulfilled? And Yahushua answered them, began to say, take heed lest any man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Mashiach, and shall deceive many. And when ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, be ye not troubled, for such things must needs be, but the end shall not be yet, right? Because why? These are the beginning of sorrows. Okay, when you see these signs, right? And you see these signs of war, and we have that, okay? And kingdom against kingdom, all right? You see that as well, okay? Going on to verse 8, it says, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be earthquakes in diverse places, right? So that's what we're starting to see, all right? More and more. Like I said, I think it was like a month, maybe 2 months ago, they had a big earthquake in Japan again, all right? And then now you had, I believe, another one this past week as well, okay? So these things are happening more frequently, okay, which is telling you something, all right? Verse 8 again, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be earthquakes in diverse places, and there shall be famines and troubles. These are the beginnings of sorrows, see? So we can expect more of this type of activity in the earth, by Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, right? Because it's already prophesied to happen for the last days. Okay. Now we'll get one more scripture, and that'll be it. Like I said, it's be real short. Just a little news report. Okay. So this second Ezra 9:1, it says, or it reads, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself. And when thou seest parts of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. And seeing all of these activities going on, you can't help but to think that we're getting closer and closer, right? As the days go by, as the hours go by, actually, of the return of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua, right? The return of Yahushua and the host of the heavenly angels, you see, to what? Deliver the elect of the Lord and to bring about swift destruction of Esau, Edom's world, okay? But these other things that we're seeing in the earth right now, as we're reading, are already scheduled to happen, if you will, okay? Verse 3, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. You see? So everything that has a beginning has an end, all right? And the Lord, gave us the indicators of when the end shall be, okay? And so as I've stated once before, in a moment of time in history, you've never seen all of these things happening all at once. You've had them happen in the past, sure. There's been past wars, there have been past earthquakes, there have been past times of trouble in certain nations, but now you're starting to see it all happen at once, okay? Which are indicators that we're closer than we've ever been, all right, to our deliverance. So we'll keep an eye on the news and we'll see what happens, as we go forward, and as spiritual weather forecasters and news reporters, we'll be posting, our lessons, filtering the events through the scriptures, right, to keep everybody updated. All right. So with that'll do it for the lesson. All right, and we'll keep our eyes on what's going on. All right, but the main thing is don't waste time. Don't wait. Turn to the Lord while you still have a chance to do so. Salakia, while you still have a chance to do so. All right, so that will end the lesson right there, giving all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. Shalom.